Welcome to Tuesday, August 6th, 2024. The next 48 hours will continue to be very warm, very summery across the region. But those changes we talked about yesterday, well, they're on schedule. As subtropical moisture is increasing, as evidenced by those clouds you see right there, we're going to see the subtropical moisture interact with a big push of cooler Canadian air. That's going to bring about some changes. But for another 2 days, temperatures are going to remain very, very warm. Then, as we get through the next several days, subtropical moisture, as you'll see in the satellite imagery, is becoming widespread. There's really nothing to sweep it away for a while. So we're going to be seeing increasing thunderstorm activity today and Wednesday, kind of what you'd expect this time of year. Then as a push of cooler air comes in, as we mentioned yesterday, this is really about the divide and what side of the divide you're on. If you're on the western slope, the western side of the Continental Divide, the real cool air is not going to get to you. The mountains will just hold that up. But if you're along and east of the Continental Divide, temperature readings in some areas may not hit 70 Thursday and Friday. So wrap your brain around that. There will be areas in the 60s and lower 70s Thursday and Friday that were in the 100s this weekend. So that's quite a big change. Upslope conditions, subtropical moisture with that mixing in should bring increasing chances of rain, especially along and east of the divide. But for you western slope folks, subtropical moisture, monsoon moisture, is going to feed thunderstorms. So this is a good pattern to help out with fires. It's a good pattern to help out with very dry conditions in some areas. So all of our fingers and toes are crossed in hopes that all this comes together. More wonderful sunrise, sunset photos coming on in from great cloud formations building. Notice that over the last couple of days, I'm sure you've noticed this, the smoke levels have dropped off considerably. We have seen a real reduction in smoke coming out of Canada, and I think they're getting the upper hand in some of the western fires here. So there's still smoke in the region, but not nearly as much. This produced, according to Kelly, some very heavy rain around the Cokeville, Kemmer area, the good soaker, a good indication of that subtropical moisture coming on in, then a nice rainbow right after that. Also, solar activity. We're going to be talking more about this. Jan Curtis sending this in, a shot from Cheyenne yesterday. This sunspot, AR 3780, is just now rotating around and is going to be facing the Earth. It's going to go just like this here in the coming days. So we had a little bit of aurora activity this past weekend. There is a pretty good likelihood over the next couple of weeks for you aurora watchers of other opportunities coming. This has a history, the sunspot, of producing some X-class flares, and there's more coming. And a reminder, this photo was taken with very heavy filters. You don't want to look at the sun. You've got to have eye protection, whether they're solar sunglasses, or high density filters on your telescope. But the sun is going to be probably very active over the next week or two. So stay tuned, especially if you want to see some auroras. The satellite imagery this morning showing the water vapor becoming very pervasive across the west. This is a hunk of high humidity air. You can see the thunderstorms in western Mexico, and then you can see it curving around the high pressure ridge. So there's a lot upstream coming in the coming days and not moving very, very quickly. So you can see the high. Let's go back there. High pressure today is where it was yesterday. So there's plenty of heat. This is why it's going to continue to be very warm over the next couple of days. But the cool air is sitting up here. The hot air is back down here. And over time, over the next 48 hours, this high pressure weakens and this trough of low pressure settles in like this. So by Thursday afternoon and evening, we have a convergence of events. The green represents the subtropical moisture coming around the high. The blue represents the cooler air getting pushed out of north central Canada into and along and just east of the Continental Divide and into the northern plains. And there you're going to see basically the convergence along that line there. This is Debbie that's going to be hanging around the Carolinas here over the next couple of days. This low will catch up with it, bring that up here, then head it out to the Atlantic. But cool air will come in and filter behind this system for the nation's midsection. So the end result is this. This is the precipitable water looping from today, going through an extended period. And what I want you to notice is that for the most part, a lot of the West is either under white, green, or blue, to where there's just plenty of water vapor that's going to be available over an extended period of time. This goes all the way into next week. Also notice, you'll see this as we get a little bit further along here. See this brown area? This is associated with the cooler air coming in, where you're naturally going to have lower humidity and drier air. So this shows a representation of where the real cool air is, and you'll notice there's an interface between the brown and the green here coming up late this week and into the upcoming weekend. So overall, a cooler, wetter trend should ensue now, with this pattern evolving over time. Today, thunderstorm risk is high in Montana and northeastern Wyoming. We could have some severe weather here. Montana is going to have a very active day. This is going to get into the I-90 corridor of Wyoming and western South Dakota. Then a tongue of possibly strong thunderstorms along the Front Range of Colorado and southeastern Wyoming into western Nebraska and the western Dakotas. Some heavy thunderstorms in Arizona with that deeper monsoon that's coming on in. And what you're going to see is the active thunderstorm pattern here in this area by late afternoon and evening. Tomorrow looks like this. We could have an area here of some strong thunderstorms, and you can see kind of a concentration of heavier thunderstorms there on Wednesday. The thunderstorm activity drops up here. Doesn't mean it's not going to rain. It's just that the cooler air is really settling into Montana. So cool, you get more of a stratiform rain than a convective or thunderstorm rain. The thunderstorms will be most active here tomorrow, and then on Thursday it looks like this. Now let's look at how the temperatures evolve here in the coming days. So we're looping through the weekend. Starting today, there's the heat, the orange and the red. Then you can see the cold air pouring into Montana and then basically holding up right along the divide, pushing all the way down into the southern plains by the weekend. So this is going to result in a significant drop in temperature. Upslope winds will add to low clouds, higher humidity air, and coolness. And look at these temperatures. So these are the forecasted high temperatures. You'll see a lot of 60s and lower 70s over a lot of real estate right here. Just 70s and 60s. This is for Thursday. So you can see where that cool air is. The suppression of the heat will be down here through the desert southwest. And then you can see that if you're west of the Continental Divide, well, your temperatures will be hot or about where they should be for this time of year. So you can see how the effect of the mountains really hold up these air masses. So you have a really different air mass depending on what side of the divide you're on. So that's Thursday. These are Friday's high temperatures. So there's really going to be 2 days, Thursday and Friday, where it is going to be a lot cooler. If you're tired of the heat, well, here's a break for you. West of the divide, you're going to still stay in the heat, but you're going to get cooled off here in the afternoon and evenings from thunderstorms. So there's going to be some help coming there. So stay tuned. We'll have more for you tomorrow. Have a great Tuesday.